Okay, we're here to start November 14th Parks and Rec meeting. Any audience or citizens?
Nope.
Online? Nope. Okay, hearing none. Approval of minutes. I get a motion to accept the minutes for October 10th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes. One second.
You can't.
Any discussion?
Can't say it's like.
Thank you.
I know what you mean. I know. what you
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
So Tiff, that's 501, Greg abstained. I'm sure she got it.
Okay, we'll take each consent agenda item. Can I have a motion to accept A?
Make a motion, we accept consent agenda A.
Second. Yeah, no seconds. Okay, any questions, discussion?
No major changes, all just regular annual changes.
On the comparison of towns, is there a reason why the $40 per hour for local and 80? I mean, that's just in comparison, they're all a little bit higher.
When we switched to the hourly rate, you guys instructed us to go up $5 every year. That's what we've done.
So it's just the $5.
Switching local to non-local every year.
Yeah.
That's what you guys had asked for.
Any other questions? Want anybody to step you through it? You good? Okay, all in favor for the fees as presented, say aye. Okay. Consent agenda item B.
Make a motion, we accept consent agenda B. Acceptance of 2025 and January 2026 meeting dates for Park and Recreation Commission and presented.
Okay. Any comments? If there's changes, we can make them as we get closer, so.
Did you guys notice that September we moved to the 3rd? Everyone's okay with that? Okay. Seemed easier.
We're good. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Feasibility up.
You want me to take it or don't take it? I'll take it.
You were done.
You wanna
Go
take it?
Well, okay, if everybody did have a copy, there's a copy there, feasibility, PBA presented to the town council Tuesday night, this feasibility study. I'm not gonna go through everything, but it starts with the pickleball courts, you can see the price ranges. He did mention that all of these costs include, design costs, architects, insurance, legal fees. And I'm sure there's some detail behind it, but that was not presented, and I know that what is getting some detail, because as we discussed with as I discussed with the council, after we went through everything, the council said, okay, how about for a splash pad and bathrooms, including the changing area, right? So like, if we focus on that right now and, figure out whether it's gonna be the big area of the pool or the smaller area, like the waiting pool size, and he did give some square feet. And so that's what happened in the end. So I know Woody has to go back, because if you do a splash pad, just say in the waiting pool area, you still gotta fill in the pool. So none of that detail was at least presented, but it's there. So I'm sure he can get it.
Yeah, Jen and I are working with Luke. We both sent him an email today trying to get some more information. The feasibility study was very limited of what we asked him for information, what we paid for. And I think if we continue to ask him to increase the scope of the job, there's gonna be more funds that are gonna be needed. We'll have to go back to council and ask for more funds because we'll exceed the $30,000. I think we're on the right track with having an approach of the way we want to handle it, especially with the council's guidance of the way they would like to see it done. You know, renovate or remediate the pump house, that the pool, the bathroom area that's currently there. Demo the pool. Remove all the infrastructure from inside the pump house and everything, and then do it. I don't want to say phases because we're not allowed to do phases, but like the first project would be bathrooms, remove the pool, splash pad. Second project could be, and parking lot. One thing we did realize over the last couple of days is by talking to other towns is Cromwell has, their splash pad has 40 fixtures, right around 2,000 square feet. They have like 30 parking spots.
14, not 40.
14, sorry.
Okay, Mom.
14 elements, they have 30 parking spots. We noticed very quickly with Little Peoples that we created 15 parking spots when there wasn't parking spots before, and that filled up really quick. So what we don't want to happen is it's a good problem to have, but we don't want to open a park and not have enough parking. So we're trying to add an additional parking lot where the swings are, so we're gonna come up with that cost as well. So this way, that'll be project one of what we're looking at, of what we'd like to see done, and we can choose the fixtures and everything at a later date. Then project two would be a playground 2 to 5 and 5 to 12, and then another project would be the pickleball. All said and done, if you added everything together, I think was somewhere around 7 mil. Yeah, and then the first project would be, the first set of projects would be right around $4 million. So our biggest goal is narrowing that down, making sure we're getting exactly what we want. I think Luke from KVA, we've asked him to come to the next meeting via Zoom, in case you guys have any questions, and then continue to move forward.
The one thing I will say that the mayor wanted to move forward on, I mean, obviously, there's certain constraints, but there was a definite focus on wanting to do it. So that's a good thing, but we have to figure out. I suppose it would start with the square area and then what it would take to support that with the, how you're gonna knock down or shorten up the building.
I would imagine I imagine if KVA is chosen, they'll do everything a la carte, like we're gonna demo the building. Here's your choices:
That's
demo the
okay.
building, retrofit the building.
Yep.
Demo the pool, we know the pool has to be demolished anyways.
Yeah.
So if the pool demolished comes in at $200,000, no matter what, the pool has to go. If the pool has to go, all the pumps and filters and everything, they have to go as well. And that'll just continue to go. No,
So we have to demolish it versus filling it in.
you
Different options.
you have to remove all the pool deck,
Okay,
both the kiddie pool and the ground pool.
Okay.
You then have to rip all the drainage out, then we have to fill the pool. I don't know what was used in 1977 when the pool was built. We don't know what, if there's could be possibly contaminated soil. We know there's groundwater that leaks up. So we know there's gonna be excessive drainage needed to make sure the area doesn't stay wet. We don't ruin another project.
So if you remember, we have a $5 million limit for anything going to referendum, right? And chances are it'd be turned down. Newington put forward their 12 million that got turned down. That included 2 splash pads, a new pool, a couple of things on their fields. So, on the splash pad, if you look at the wading pool, this was, you can just jot this down. It was, you mentioned 700 to 800 square feet is the wading pool. So if Cromwell is 2,000.
Yep.
And actually, I've been to Cromwell. I thought it was pretty small. Surprisingly, I'm surprised it's 2,000 square feet, but I guess it is, so.
I'm surprised how small that all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's. Well, I'll wait to see if you get any others, but,
Yeah, we're working on a list.
yeah, they did ask for square footage of other towns, so that they could maybe go around and see it themselves to see how big things would be. So, you know, the wading pool, 600 to 650,000 to me.
that was just a smaller one, right?
Yeah, that's a wading. Or I'm sorry, 500 to 550 for the splash pad. The main pool, if you were gonna replace the pool, which, you know, historically we have not recommended because people not used it, we don't have the staff, make it difficult to get staff. That was up to $3.7 million. And then make that pool area splash pad, which is 4,500 square feet. So a little over 2 times what Cromwell is. 2.6 to 2.8 million. And then you have the building as mentioned. So we gotta keep it under, definitely under 5 million. And, you know, we'll see where we go, but those are the 2 options for us. And we need more parking. So, which is not in any of these.
Correct.
So, that's what they were asked to do, and then, you know, come back. I said we would, you know, would be discussing this report tonight. And, you know, with that, I don't know if you have any further direction or comments. You know, we would want to push for this thing to get moved on early next year sometime, and then, construction sometime, maybe late summer, fall, open it up in 2026. Same day as 2026. I don't know if that's doable, the amount of money that it's gonna cost. And you guys had to produce your capital report.
We went over the first stages of our capital report. So we left the numbers out of what we were looking for. We'll add those to probably the second capital meeting because we'll have them there.
So I leave it up to you guys, you know, we can certainly have the rep from KVA come in, zoom in for our meeting to ask questions. I want to make sure that we do have questions, obviously, before we expend the money, because we, you know, we need to provide information to waiting for the other things. But certainly, you know, I always wished that we can always review things before it goes to council, but that's not doable.
So what is the timeline? Estimated timeline to get a sense for what the potential costs would be?
We just emailed Luke today with what was discussed at council and what options we were looking for. I'd assume it's gonna take him, you know, a week or 2 to get back to us, and once we have that, we'll email off to council, and then it's up to them to decide when they want to fund it.
But we can certainly recommend, and I made, you know, what I thought to be a recommendation for them to, you know, which is a just do splash pad bathrooms, just get something done, you know, go.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's worth his time coming, especially if we pay for it, for him to be here. Does he charge us an hourly rate?
No, I'm sure you would hop
This
right
would-
on Zoom
This would probably be considered as part of the feasibility fee.
Oh, okay.
we could
Yeah.
discuss it.
and update the commission usually. But I think if we add on more than just the parking lot, or it needs more, it needs a stone wall, it needs a retaining wall, it needs drainage.
But is he aware that our funding is only a certain amount of money?
Yes,
Yeah, council made it pretty clear on what the
So if that's
parameters
the
are.
case, then shouldn't he just come back with a recommendation on what we think the right approach would be, knowing the financial situation, knowing what we typically want in the town? I mean, versus going full gamut, just come and give us a recommendation under the 5 million. So it doesn't have to go.
but we kind of on the impression the council and you guys would want to have some input into what we decided.
Right, so Woody has to put
I'm sorry.
capital budget together
Yeah,
now.
I'm sorry, maybe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't clear. Coming back to us with a recommendation, so then we could decide on what we want. That's what I mean, unless you and I all know what we want.
I think that's what he's going
I think at this point, his instruction from his, like, directive from me and Steve's email today was come up with what size splash pad you think can fit there in that area, and what it's gonna cost to demo the pool and put that size splash pad there. What are the options for the building? If we gut the entire building, can we renovate it into bathrooms? Can we knock down the building and build a new building with bathrooms and a pump house? Or the third option, which is what Charlie broke up, can we just take 1/3 of the building and completely just shut it down and only renovate the other 2/3 of the building for bathrooms? So we asked for those 3 options, as well as a splash pad option, as well as, hey, look at this area for parking and what would it cost to expand that? And I think that's what he's gonna come
Oh,
back with. I don't think he's gonna
focusing on that,
focus
really.
anymore on turning the wading pool
Okay.
into a couple elements or anything like that. He's not gonna do any more work on pickleball courts right now because the council made it pretty clear that that's gonna be later down the line.
Same with the playground.
That makes sense.
And then, the council asked Jen to put together the, like I said, square footage from other towns. I wasn't sure what Charlie's comment was about number of people. I know, you know, he wants to have a sense of how many people would attend, but we said it'd be packed.
Yeah.
So
And it's not something,
He was
you
talking
can-
about
it's
like
not something
cost
you
per
can
kid.
accurately monitor because they're not manned with lifeguards taking attendance
Yeah,
every day.
yeah.
right, and that's one thing we did with, next day, I was in Cromwell, Rocky Hill and Meriden, we had a lengthy conversation of how much use their splash pads get. Cromwell's on a rolling board, so at any given time during summer, when they're in prime and the kids are out of school, it's a rolling 40, every time there's 40 kids. So, you know, so that might equal out to be 20 cars, but it seems to be 40 was the normal number, but they have, Cromwell has a lot right there, they have the tennis, they have the post-tension tennis
Yeah.
courts, they have the skateboard, they have the basketball court, they have the softball, they have the pavilion, they have the bathrooms. There's a lot in that
Of
park.
stuff going
Yeah.
on, right, it was, yeah.
And Meriden said the same thing, as Meriden is in the inner city, it's downtown, so it gets a little bit more use, but that's a lot more foot traffic than it is cars pulling.
Donna Beach brought up that Southington put in a splash pad over Sloper. And so that's one to
Yeah,
make sure we
That's
check on.
big.
it's big, but it's by the Y, it's not the town.
It is the Y, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Camp Sloper
The town one in Southington is only 600 square feet. So that
is
was
how many?
600 square feet.
Six.
The town of Southington one is tiny, it's like 6 elements.
But maybe find out on Camp Sloper, just because she brought that up, so she's aware of.
It's on the list.
I think it will, on the size, it will come down to, well, will this be the only splash pad we have for the next 10 years? Or will we consider putting another one in at some point, somewhere, who knows where? You know, that's the thing to talk about. If you ever get a chance, go to Veterans Park at Middletown. That is, it's, you know, I'll say the Taj Mahal, bad word to use in this town, but it is the Taj Mahal splash pads. I ran into someone at Little People's that's from Cromwell the other day. I brought my grandchildren up there and I was, you know, asking her about splash pads. She goes, oh, she lives in Cromwell. I go to Middletown. That is the best of the best. I mean, it's great and it really is quite something, so.
But see, that's kind of something we would want to speed up. You know,
Yeah.
you can spend a lot of money and have a big bucket that fills up with 500 gallons of water and dumps. What are some of the elements that Middletown has that use less water? Is that something we would want to gear our splash pad to?
Right,
You know, we could have a 5,000 square foot splash pad with 20 elements that use a lot of water, or we can have a 5,000 square foot splash pad that have all elements that are different than other towns don't have. Like Middletown, I think they had an alligator or something that uses less water, that's gonna attract more people. And the money you're gonna save in the water, you can use towards other elements.
this, yeah.
You know, it's finding what the kids want, what's gonna really, they're gonna gravitate like.
Yeah, it might be something, I mean, at this point, we have costs and these are based on square footage estimates that you mentioned, you know, for the splash pads and things of other towns that have recently put it in, projected for 2025. But, you know, at some point to get input. You know, similar to what we did with Little People's. Little People's really well accepted, so, at the appropriate time. Okay, so the feeling is to have him come in for Zoom, unless there's something.
Yeah.
Jen, whenever you send the council, can you send to the commission as well? Because we'll have your square footage, we'll have the costs or whatever.
Is he coming to present to the council before us next month?
So he's hired by the town and the council is the one that hires him, so he reports to.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, even when I ask a question, he doesn't talk a lot. I feel like I gotta push, and so I'm pushing. I sent questions. When I saw this presentation, I sent questions to Jen. And you know, one of which is give me the detailed costs, because demo costs, if you just put a splash pad bathrooms, demo costs, how much of that? So anyway, you know, he answered some of them, but my push to Jen was, well, tell him that I'm gonna send these same questions to the council can ask. I did, I sent it to all the council members, and I asked them to they covered some.
And Steve, is there anything that the town can do as far as tear down, demo, that first thing possible?
Yeah, in the email Jen wrote today, we asked if we went in there and we demoed the inside of the building and got rid of all the bathroom fixtures, all the showers, the cubbies, the partitions, and did everything we could do, like removed all the sand filters, pumps, all that stuff. Would that help enough to
Make it worth it.
make it worth it? Like if we saved $100,000 in the middle of the winter taking everything out, that $100,000 now goes into the project rather than paying somebody prevailing wages to come in. And I think our guys would enjoy doing that, working with facilities. We'd all make sure everybody was okay with it. But if we could save $100,000, I think that would be something we'd be interested in as well. Couple salamander heaters, heat the roof and heat the place up a little bit, have a little fun.
That's what we should.
Okay. Questions, comments? Okay. All right, Parks and Grounds.
All right, lengthy Parks and Grounds report. It's been a busy month. The first thing is I just have to really thank the guys for pretty much everything under the sun. We were not expecting the brush fire and our guys all participated, helped out, with phone calls in the middle of the night trying to get all our gear, filling up the vehicles. It was nonstop of just everybody working harmoniously together to help out and assist where we could. So kudos to them. Definitely something we weren't ready for. So Chris Hedge worked on getting a arts grant, and part of the arts grant was to procure 4 benches, select places along Farmington Avenue, Veterans Park, where we would put the benches. So what the grounds department ended up doing is we went out and put out 8 pads. So if you drive down Farmington Avenue, Veterans Park, you'll see 8 pads. And currently, as people donate and buy benches, we are installing benches. The guys at McClatchy Park put in M's instead of McClatchy Park and leaves. Over at Volunteer Park, they took big giant oak leaves and they put them there. So it's kind of got a little stamp of that. Currently, Chris Edge informed me today they're going to buy another bench that is going to go at phase 2 of Veterans Park. There's another one right up the road in Cereal, right by Stop and Shop, over by Sitco Park. So if you drive around and you see these pads, they're for future benches. That was a great job, and I think it really looks nice, and it's really starting to make it pop a little bit. That now when you're walking down Farmington Avenue, you have a place to sit. Instead of walking a mile, like walk a half a mile, take a break, get a little more people out there doing some exercise. Another project that we were handed to is, come to find out, there's a Stantec Road parking lot on Spruce Brook. There wasn't enough sight so we kind of informed that, hey, by the way, we have to block this off. If you check out the second and the third picture that are in here, is us going in there, cleaning everything up. We took a bunch of debris out of the woods. We ended up laying rocks. So now if you drive by, you'll see that there's no way to park there. They were parking in the residence yard. They were unloading quads. Pitbull ran up to their little boy who was 2 years old. So we really needed to get on top of that. Mark and Donna really were instrumental in giving us the tools and the resources to get that done. So the guys did that job as well. With this unbelievably amazing weather, the guys went out and they edged every ball field, every softball field. They took down all the lips. We were lucky enough to resod the infield at Dennehy. So if you drive by Dennehy, it looks a little in shambles, but they laid down about 2,400 square feet where there was a giant lip behind third base. The pitcher's mound was all messed up. So once again, kudos to the guys. They knocked that out. We'll touch base on Steel Boulevard a little bit later. All right, then we can go over, I guess, the little peoples. I know that Greg had emailed last week with some questions that he ran into Karen, and Karen had emailed me about probably 2 months ago, several times requesting a sandbox to put in. And my stance has always been is if somebody requests something to be added to a park, I think that's your guys' decision and us to work together to decide if this is something we want to add. Not just mine. You know, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, why isn't this there? I think you guys should have just as much education on the subject as I should. Working with Creative Recreation is the one who installed the playground, designed the playground. And I think by his description right there, I don't think it's something, I don't think we'd want a sandbox in our facilities. And I don't want to tell her no without the support of you guys. We're not looking for a vote. But I mean, if anybody has an idea or something else we can do, I'm definitely open for it. I just don't think they're clean and sanitary, nor does the.
Agreed.
We have a sandbox at Friendship Place with sand in.
We do. Yep. We have a sandbox that it's raised, I think it's 3 or 4 feet off the ground. If we, anytime we put in sand in 24 years, as soon as it's in, it's out. I mean, we put screen underneath it to try to keep that in there. And that one's a little different because it's raised, so that you don't have the chance of a cat going in there or a raccoon or a mouse and building a mouse nest. So but I just don't think a structure in the ground like no sandbox is necessary, or a structure above the ground. And I think we had a lot of meetings to discuss what everybody wanted, and none of these were ever one. To keep going on Little People's, I mean, I'm blown away at the transformation of everything that took place and transpired, and it was like a juggle. I mean, DPW hiring Glosso to pay, the fence guy being able to get the fence installed, the playground guy wrapping up at the same time. And I know Donna was a little upset that like there wasn't more notice. I mean, it was like juggling. And then the Kensington Garden Club came up. And the Kensington Garden Club was like, well, do you think there's any way you guys can put a brick barrier so when we plant our plants, they don't wash down? And then it was like, all of us guys were sitting back and we're like, we all can't leave this like this. So then they sodded the whole front of Little People's Playground. So, and then it was like, okay, how do we open a parking lot without paving? So then the guy that came in and without painting parking spots, he came in and painted, like, so literally, if you look at everything that went into it in a short period of time of that 2 weeks, it just blows us away. So kudos to the guys. I hope everybody is extremely happy. You know, there's always things we learn from projects. You know, it would have been nicer if the contractor would have been here on time. If he didn't get delayed in Middletown for 3 weeks. There's a lot of things we wish would have happened, but in the end, it all came together, and I think everybody's happy.
And you always said November, so.
Right.
You did it.
November, we had a month buffer, that's why we said November.
Yeah.
But
Well.
November
needed it.
November 6th was just as good as November. Any questions on that?
Two things. Getting back to the sandbox, Karen had mentioned to me when I was there that a lot of parents came up and asked about why the sandbox. And she thought about it too. So I mean, that's why I'm sure, I mean, she talked to you beforehand. She just mentioned when I was there, the parents had asked about that. That's the only reason that I'm bringing it up.
So I think generally though, we support the fact, right? You know, for sandboxes to include it. There could be issues.
Appreciate that. Percival Field, I mean, thank God it hasn't rained. We met with everybody last week with Corporation Council, had a conversation of some things that can be done and some things we'd like to see done. Currently, right now, they're gonna go out, they're gonna do a little remediation and fix one of the drains. They're gonna add some tracer wire, expose the drain so we can see exactly what that looks like. Follow that down the line. We've hired a surveyor to come in and survey the field to make sure that the pitch and everything's correct. It was designed for a 1.67% pitch. We want to make sure we have the pitch completely off the field. Trying to also figure out why the water is not seeping down through the sod layer. We're going with it that there's too much thatch, which is the sponge that is built up, and we've been aerating that. So hopefully now the water will start to migrate there. It's a work in progress. The field, I think, performed really good throughout the season. Goal mouth's got a little bit beat up. We added a lot of grass seed, overseeded it, slice seeded it, aerated it, and I think by walking it last week, the grass is growing. We have some germination. We just need Mother Nature to start doing more of the work for us. Any questions on personal?
Just remember. So can we do a ribbon cutting for this?
That is a great idea. Nobody kill me. I'm not an accolade guy, so I think it's a great idea for you guys to do a ribbon cutting. all of you get together, get the mayor together, take some beautiful pictures.
Right, I was talking about, playground.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're all for it. We'll get you whatever you guys need. Have at it.
Well, on the playground, my suggestion on ribbon cutting is do it in the spring, better weather, not now, you know,
Yeah.
there's not gonna be a lot.
But it'll still start.
There could be a lot of people, it's too cold. But, yeah, and we can certainly help out, but we are gonna need your assistance and, you know, it'd be great to have you there because you guys did the work.
Yeah.
So,
I know you like it.
No.
Make Toby do it.
That'll cost me. Oh,
We're gonna like this.
the other thing,
It's all
I'll
ground.
say, you know, with ribbon cutting, like at Little People's, there's an opportunity to talk to parents. Get other things going, get support for other projects that we need support for, so. But I think it would be, you know, pretty good to do, but I would do Little People's.
Okay, that's fine.
when the leaves are on, grass is growing, house a little bit more. Leaves.
So a lot of the parents that I talked to when I was there were saying it was beautiful, liked it. And of course, the other question was, it took so long. And what I said to them was, I said, listen, I said, yeah, it took a little bit longer than we all liked, but it's really nice. You know, I said, you have to look what we have versus, you know, a lot of the other stuff. It's a great playground. I mean, it is a great playground for kids. They even got a little bell in there you can ring somewhere. I mean, it's pretty cool. And the kids had fun. It's amazing. You guys did a great job.
It actually didn't take longer than the project itself, what took longer is getting the money and getting it approved.
Right.
Which is everything in this town, just like it's gonna be for the splash pad. So that's the message that we need to tell people. That's why we need support for these things. We need people to come out to our meetings, town council meetings, board of finance meetings, and follow this thing through with us. So,
To that point, I mentioned a lot of parents. I said, listen, Karen and some of her group really wanted the playground done. And they put forth a lot of effort to make it happen. I said, you really did a great job in speaking it up and pushing it through the town council. So I mean, you know, you need to get involved in it. You know, if you want things to happen, like Donna said, you've got to be actively engaged in doing it.
Yeah.
Once they think it could be a political issue like anything, you know, they're gonna start to pay more attention.
Yeah, and just like every project is, Jen and I sit down together, we go over my budget, we'll go over the CIP, even though we're not connected department wise anymore, is all of
I
these
have no
things.
CIP officially.
She has no CIP,
I have
but
no
all of these
CIP.
things are done together, and we've had community playground in there for 7 years.
Yeah.
It took 7 years to get done, and we have other playgrounds in there that have taken just as long. Which brings me to the next one, the Willard Playground.
Yeah.
So about 18 months ago, we were tasked with the idea of coming up with a design for Willard Playground, not Friendship Place, Willard Playground. It's the only playground in any elementary school that has not been upgraded in the last several years. We came up with a design, we felt really confident that we were gonna go with it. All of a sudden, funding was pulled. Probably 2 months ago, my phone rang, hey, by the way, we don't believe the golf course is gonna utilize the LoCIP funds to do the bridges and the bumpers out at Timberland Golf Course. Would you be willing to accept $138,000? Of course I am. So we got back with the committee just 2 weeks ago, finalized it, what we'd like it to look, what features we would like. So we're pretty much set on what we have for a design for that playground, working with the PTO, 7 members of the PTO, school teachers, recess, and everybody. I'll email you guys all that link tomorrow. Just click on and go through it. If everything goes the way we think it's going to go, we'll say June 15th, we'll start demoing the playground and start hopefully constructing it August 1st, and then that playground should be ready for the beginning of school, which is probably right around September 1st. With that comes something that's not on here is community playground I had in my CIPs for this year to be replaced. I moved it from this year to next year. And the reason is with 2 new playgrounds going in, I think it'd be very beneficial for us to get some feedback from the community of what they liked, what they didn't like, before we invest $200,000 into community playground, not knowing exactly what we want. Do we want a playground that's more aimed to 2 to 5 with smaller things? I don't know, but I think I would like to work with Karen and that group again to see what they would possibly like, rather than just order a $200,000. My kids are not that age anymore, so I don't really, but I'm definitely open for suggestion there of how we want to move forward with that.
The Friendship Place though,
So Friendship Place, we put $50,000 in for consulting. We don't think it'll ever come close to that, but we want to make sure that we have a number. And we're probably looking at somewhere between $750,000 and $1 million to redo that playground 25 years. We know the Lions were very instrumental. We know that there could be some state funding available. There might be some steep money, there might be some grant money. And that's something we want to make sure that we hit every demographic if we're going to do that. If we're spending $1 million on that playground, it's our boundless playground. It's our only true ADA compliant playground that we have in the whole entire town. Do we want to make sure that that's the location, knowing that it's blocked off and closed down now from 7 to 3:30, 185 days? That's a decision we have to make. Does it make sense to possibly put it at Sage Park when you pull into the left? Does it make sense to put it in another parcel of property that we've purchased over the last several years that doesn't have time constraints? These are decisions we have. But once again, very open to feedback and suggestions with that. Yeah.
and using the LoSiP funds, say, you don't have to go through the Board of Finance, or did it go to Board of Finance?
Nope,
To
so,
move it?
so, no, it'll go back to the town council. LoSiP has changed the way they do it. Before you had to request the money, show them the project, and they would give it back, they give you the money. Now you're allocated, we'll say, $100,000. You move forward with that $100,000. When you're done spending that $100,000, you send them the paperwork to make sure it fits in all of their demographics of what they're looking for. A playground usually would.
So even though the town thought they were gonna use it for Timberland says. no.
Timberland's not ready to move forward with
Yeah.
both of their major projects, so why let that money sit there when somebody like us can?
Yeah, no, it's,
Is that money gonna be enough to do that?
So that we're looking at $138,000 in LoSiP, and I think there's 47 and change on the backside of it, so we're looking for $185,000 all set.
Will that include the basketball? Hoops there and everything?
The basketball hoops and everything were done when we paved it 3 years ago. We bought all brand new hoops, all new, everything is brand new there. So parking lot, curb, drainage done. Some things I don't know about and they just get thrown on my lap. So the next thing is the Steel Center in Farmington Avenue. We inherited it where they are creating a new park. There's going to be a little pavilion, like one of those barnyard outdoor structures where you can be able to sit. There's gonna be some tables, there's gonna be some garbage cans. It's just gonna be a park along Farmington Avenue, tucked in the back. Hop house, I think I included a picture of
Yeah.
where the area was gonna be.
it's right in the parking lot, so.
Thought I did back.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but there was a picture of exactly the location, but I probably forgot to send it with everything going on. So that crosses up Steel Center Boulevard. The next one
So
is
why are you without them? Because of
Because
the
it's
benches and the stuff?
yours.
So actually, they're gonna put a
Yep.
covered structure in.
Yep.
Newington has one in that marketplace.
Right.
Huh? What's that?
I said we're gonna move you to Newington.
That's what I'm just saying. Well, my dog gets going there.
Is there gonna be grass here, you have to mow and all that stuff?
Not really sure. There's been a bunch of different designs. And the first design had 72 trees we're gonna have to maintain, and we're like, no way, no. So there might be
It's not
some,
that big of an area. It's
You
not.
know,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
asking.
It's not that big.
I would imagine over the next couple of months, a better picture will come out of what exactly what it's gonna look like, and I'll send that out to you guys as well.
So that goes on our list of parks, then, huh?
It'll go on our list.
Yeah.
Which I think is a nice addition. The last thing,
Who's paying for all this? Is Steel?
Steel Boulevard, there's Steel Boulevard, there's a grant, there's some new
Okay.
open space money. All the money is there allocated to
Okay.
it. They're trying to work with the neighbors and the other businesses to see where they're gonna put the cut through from go from one building to another building. They're trying to see if they can get them to move the fence a little bit so that if you move the fence, you'll be able to walk straight into it. So there's a bunch of different moving parts. Sage property transfer. So I don't know if any of you guys are familiar, but in right field of Zipadelli Field, there's a batting cage. Next to the batting cage, there is a cut through that brings you over to
Dutch Street.
the back street.
Yeah,
It'll come to us. So
Wilkes Pond Road.
yes, Wilkes Pond, nice job. So there's a little cut through on Wilkes Pond Road, and you can walk from Wilkes Pond Road into there, and all the neighborhood kids have done it for years.
Yeah.
A builder wants to trade how do I say this, He wants to give,
The, right at,
so right at the mouth.
so
of
if
that-
you look at this picture that I think you all have. If you look at it, where Town of Berlin is at the top of your picture, or the words. The little blue circle is currently owned by the town. It's the end of the road leading up to the trail, including a driveway into someone's house. This top blue circle is currently owned by the contractor. It's not town property.
Huh?
So all they wanna do is switch the two properties. What they wanna do is take Wilkes Pond, and at the end of the road, if you walk off the curb and off the road, you hit the trail. They wanna turn the road all the way to the right to meet the back end of his driveway and go all the way down the hill and create, new developments. So he needs the corner of Wilkes Pond Road, which right now is owned by the town. So it's already been reached out to the town manager and talked about at council. And then Maureen met us out there and kind of explained what was going on. All we have to do is I have to fill out this paperwork where it says comment or no comment. Steve and I talked, and we talked with Maureen and Alexa from planning and zoning. All we want to do for our comment is, because the locations don't matter to us except for the start of the trailhead. We want to make sure that that trail is continued to be open during all of construction. When construction is done, it is town property, the start of the trail and that little area right in front of it. But we want to make sure that during construction, it's not closed off because of them expanding the road. So,
And the parcel of property that we are getting, or we're swapping out, is if you sit behind stage one where the benches are, going about 100 feet, that's the property. So however big that circle is, how many square feet it is. So it's a benefit for us, and the residents.
and it's
will still
nothing
get
else you'd have to maintain because it's all just trees and stuff.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is that they want to take this property at the end of the road. And our biggest thing was, which is why we, after going back and forth on emails and trying to understand it, we said, let's just go out there. We went out there and we're like, we don't care about anything except where this trail is right now, and that needs to be left open. And that's the point we want to stress. I would just write that after discussion with the commission. Our one comment is the start of the trail needs to be open throughout construction and after.
Is that trail main town property?
Yes.
Yeah, the neighbors would kill us.
Is that considered a trail though, like something that we maintain?
No, we don't do anything with it.
But that's
It's,
just.
it's like a walkway.
It's a go path.
Yeah.
Don't even phrase that. If a tree fell or something happened, or somebody vandalized it, or somebody cut the fence or moved a rock, but it all ties back into, it'll come to me, it ties into another road, Jarvis Lane. So if you're coming up the
Oh, yeah.
Berlin Turnpike,
Yeah.
Jarvis Lane runs there, and you can follow that all the way to Jarvis Lane.
And because we know it's so utilized by the kids in the neighborhood, we want to make sure it stays.
Where were all the houses going in there, Bill?
So they're going, if you follow Wilkes Pond to the lower blue circle
Yeah.
and then take a right. So like past 170. In between 243 and 203, like that whole area is gonna be turned into developments.
So it'd be on Somerset.
No, it's right off Wilkes Pond.
It's all gonna
It's
be
at
Wilkes
the end of
Pond.
Wilkes Pond.
Wilkes Pond is just gonna be a longer cul-de-sac basically.
Yeah.
And to the right more.
It's very tough to explain until you drive out there. You're like,
Has that been approved? For the building?
It's been, they can't do anything until the property transfer happens. So council gave Lee permission to reach out to, I think it's Deep. To come and approve the transfer. That has to happen before they can even get the approval to start doing development. So with your support, I'll just fill out the little form Maureen gave me where it says no comment or comment and write what our comment that we want that to remain open. That's it.
Going back to Friendship Place. We hadn't been there, like,
Yep.
Summer. So go back. You guys ever do the whole, okay,
No. We're still trying to work with the contractor to either figure out how we can do it ourselves, or if he has a guy in the area that they can do.
so if this is gonna go on capital for someday in the future.
Yep.
Are we gonna try and do it before that, or just?
We'll definitely try to do it. Just, I mean, that's the bad part about Forum Place. I think they said the other night, you know, you're averaged about 15 years with the Forum Place, but after 7 or 8 years, it starts to show its age, a lot of
Yeah.
wear spots. You have to start to cut them out. Problem is Forum Place is so lucrative, somebody doesn't want to come to Berlin and patch 2 small holes. So and then there's nobody else out there that'll just patch the 2 small holes. So you've got to try to learn it yourself. Being taught, you have to hopefully that contractor has a job going on in another town. We send our guys over there, get some hands-on training, and they come back with themselves. It's a whole entire moving.
Any way you can find out what it would cost?
There might be some funding.
Yeah, we could, instead of the resetting the brakes, that, because you guys cleaned it up so nice, it actually looked okay, you know?
I'd prefer to cover it out of my playground money rather than you guys spend money on that. It's just, I think it's too overpriced for.
But they like to,
Yeah. So maybe there's something else.
I think there's something.
Looks.
they like to give out big checks.
Waiting for.
I'll have to be
We'll
in the
work together.
picture.
It's there if you mind.
Steven's done.
It's not bad. We're not
Anything
gonna
else for
have- next
Steve?
month is not going to be this busy.
You never know.
Nope. Sorry, Deb.
All right. Okay, Debbie. Thanks for joining.
Yes, I'm here.
You go.
You have my monthly report, so I will entertain any questions.
7th and 8th grade boys, just because we've seen it on Facebook and everything, it's still 2 teams?
Yep.
That's it.
I think either the 7th grade class or the 8th grade, traditionally through our whole program, it's been a lower number class, and now we're starting to see the numbers come up again.
And
But we
Any
actually have
issues
more
trying to
kids, we actually have more kids registered right now than we did last year, so it's just the numbers have shifted to the different grades.
And staff wise, you had to hire a new director or?
No, nope, just some more referees. I lost like 4 referees, I think. So I've hired 3. I'm still interviewing. I would hire at least 1 more, and then we have a new program starting on Saturdays in January. So I would look to possibly get a couple kids to work that also. That, I mentioned that in my report.
Hey, on number 3, Tinsel Fund race, so the Y continues to say that they work with you on that, and
Yes, yep, absolutely, yep.
they do?
Yep.
Yeah. What do they do with you?
They actually, they are in contact with the timing company. They order the shirts, they order the trophies, they do the goodie bags at the end.
Do they
So
pay
they-
for it?
They actually do more than we do because I'm a single department. And this department has always just had one person doing that race, and the Y has multiple staff, so they're able to do more of the workload. But I coordinate all the town groups, the police, the upbeat, we get volunteers, I book the school. So, I mean, I
Does
get a lot of the
Y
raffle
pay for
prizes and
shirts
stuff.
everything?
What's that?
Does the Y pay for the shirts? and
No,
things?
all the money comes from the funds brought into for the race.
Okay, so it's out of the funds.
Yeah.
Received, okay.
Yeah, the shirts, the timing company and the trophies all come out of that money. And they may kick in some because we kick in some on our end, but they've never come back looking for any money. It's been a great partnership with them.
And just FYI, I saw, Newington just posted for all their summer camps, looking for counselors and jobs and things like that. Just throwing that out there just so you know what's happening.
I got basketball I gotta worry about before I can worry about the
I
summer,
know.
but thank you.
I know, but just thinking of the pool out there of Kennedy, so.
Small.
Did you
Any
guys see
other
the scare,
questions for Debbie?
did you guys see the scarecrows?
Who was the best scarecrow?
In my opinion, or who won?
I bet it was a turkey.
The Berlin Peck Library won this year.
What was that?
Theirs was, did you see them?
The turkey?
The turkey.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
was cool. That was awesome.
The senior center did a good one too.
What?
Choice.
I like the senior center one was really good.
Yeah, I thought they did.
Library one was good.
It looked great,
Yeah, it was
looked great.
clever.
And 700, like over 700 votes. Ally and I sat there and counted on
Yeah,
it. It's a
Kinda
lot.
like
I mean, people like to come outside our office, outside the library, senior center, town hall, and I see them like just sitting there voting. So it was good.
People would be down walking it too, so I think the kids down.
Yeah.
but
I like park their car and go from little people to actually look at it.
Okay, any other questions for Debbie? Comments? No, good. All right,
Good.
anything else? With that, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll get one of those.
Hi, Deb.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
I'm trying to hand out, so-
So, no-